In this section, we are going to talk about estimations. Proper made estimation is a crucial step and basis for successful project delivery. Let's start with understanding what estimation is. Estimation is a process of evaluation of scope of work that should answer how much time and money we will need to complete particular scope of work. Estimation is typically done in money equivalent, for example, dollars or euros, hours of work, and sometimes in story points. Let's take a look at some popular estimation approaches. 3 points, top-down, bottom-top, parametric, and expertise-based. 3 points approach. This technique is about creating 3 versions of estimation. Optimistic variant, it supposes that everything goes smooth and no hiccups. Pessimistic variant reflects the opposite variant to the optimistic one. It supposes that we can have a lot of hiccups during the delivery. And the third option is most likely variant. Display a kind of middle point between optimistic and pessimistic variants. For example, we are to build a website, and the optimistic estimation, if everything goes well, is going to be 300 hours. Pessimistic one is going to be, for example, 500 hours, as we expect to have a lot of unexpected problems. And a most likely variant is going to be 400 hours, a middle variant between optimistic and pessimistic. And here's a formula to make estimation based on 3 dots approach. Expected amount of time or cost equals summary of optimistic estimate, most likely estimate, pessimistic estimate, and this summary is divided by 3. Top-down and bottom-top approaches. Top-down and bottom-top estimating are 2 contrasting techniques. Top-down estimating gives you a high-level, rough estimate for a project. It starts with an overall project view and breaks it down into smaller pieces. Top-down estimating relies on historical data and input from experienced team members to develop project estimates. The estimating method is best used for a quick estimation of the project costs rather than highly accurate forecasts. Example for top-down approach. Our company was thinking about investing money into building their own SaaS for sales automation. And we had to make a high-level estimation to understand required budget, at least roughly. So we have divided all scope on 30 main modules and estimated each of them roughly. Therefore, we got a high-level estimation that's enough to understand frame of estimation. The bottom-top approach breaks down tasks and resources to create a comprehensive estimate. This method is more accurate but time-consuming. Top-down estimating works for quick initial estimates, high-level budgeting, early project stages. And bottom-up estimating is a good fit for detailed and accurate estimates, complex projects with many components, projects where historical data is unavailable or insufficient. Parametric approach. Parametric estimating is a statistics-based technique to calculate the expected amount of financial resources or time that is required to perform and complete a project, an activity, or a portion of a project. And to make this type of estimation, a historical data is always required. For example, a software vendor is asked to estimate the implementation costs of its solution. The implementation consists of 4 parts: installation, customizing, the establishment of interfaces to other systems, and testing. And you have already done that for other clients, and you have estimation and costs from the previous work. And therefore, you can just reuse data for creating estimations for a new client. Expertise-based approach. This approach supposes that you're relying only on opinion of the experienced team who is making the estimation. For example, we are building the same SaaS system, and let's say designer lead says that based on his thoughts, we will need 400 hours for design. Engineering lead says that they will need around like 10,000 of dev hours. DevOps says he will need 200 hours, etc. So we are relying only on their personal thoughts. Right now, let's take a look at real practice example for estimation, how it looks in real world example. Let's go back to our previous example. So we are building a website. And we know that to build a website, we need to make design, we need to complete engineering part, and of course, beyond of these specialists, we also need to involve like quality assurance guy, project manager, and DevOps, for example. So we need to split one big project on subtasks, reasonable subtasks that we can estimate as precise as possible. And let's start with the design part. So for design part, let's say we know that we need to build a homepage, login, sign up, forgot password, shopping cart, user profile, user history, and the 404 page. And we know that to make a design, firstly, we build wireframes. Once wireframes are designed and approved with the client, then we can transform wireframes into real design. And we just take a designer and talk to him. Here we just take the opinion of our designer, show him the task, and ask him to estimate how much time he will need to, let's say, make design and mock-up per each page. And so we got this estimation for the design part. And in the very end, we just put a summary in hours for now. Right now, let's jump to the engineer's estimation. So designer's estimation we already got. Right now, we need to get the estimation from engineers. Here, we can use, let's say, this template for features that actually saves our time just for then auto calculation here in like total general estimations. I have like auto formulas that just pulls automatically all features and estimations in hours from this sheet and just make auto summary here. So let's talk first about the first spreadsheet. So to build a website, of course, we need to understand all scope of work that should be done on engineering side. And as we did for the design part, we need just to split to a smallest reasonable tasks that can be proper estimated by our engineer team. And here, let's say we know that firstly, we need to set up CI/CD. It's like continuous integration, continuous deployment, like a process how you're gonna integrate features with each other and how you're gonna deploy the code to the production servers. And it's work for DevOps, and we mark it as infrastructure. And for example, we ask our DevOps to estimate it, and he says, for example, he will need 40 hours to set everything up. Then we know that we need to build also homepage, shopping cart. Then homepage, for example, is purely only front-end part of the work. We need only front-end guy for that. But for example, you can see that for shopping cart, we know that there is both front-end and back-end part of the work. So we need to include in estimation hours for both developers. Then payments, authentication, both authentication, we have like backend and frontend part of the work. User profile, both again, we have frontend and backend part of the work. And for example, history page, also backend and frontend. And here we just ask our engineering team to put the estimations of hours they would need to spend to complete just these tasks. So we typically ask to make the estimations a highly experienced developers. And then we have this second spreadsheet that makes auto summary both for front-end tasks, then for backend tasks, for infrastructure tasks. Uh, I will explain a bit later why we need to spread these hours separately. And for example, we have also formula that add a risk factor automatically, and we can see that this total number of hours are just multiplied by 50%. That's just a good practice to always add a kind of buffer. If we talk about like three points estimation, so let's say we are talking about the pessimistic variance right now, that we suppose that we would need to add a buffer like 50% to the estimations that our engineers has given to us right now. So we have total numbers of hours we need for designers, then we have total hours we need for engineers. And therefore, it means we can already make a total summary and build our allocation model to deliver the project to understand like a final number of costs we would need to charge a client for. And we already remember this model that we have talked about previously. And here we can see that we have put down total number of front-end developer hours, total number of backend developer hours, and we like spread this utilization of hours within 6 weeks timeline. So uh, the pace we are supposed to move on to deliver the project. And we also know that we would need, let's say, this amount of project management time to support this project. Then we understand that we would need, let's say, around 40 hours of business analyst time to get all requirements. And we would need also at least part-time QA engineer to be able to test all work that would be done by developers. So that's an example of real estimation. Again, we are just splitting all project on valuable pieces of work that we can estimate from design part, from engineers part, and then we just think about other team members we would need to assign to the project to deliver it. We have total number of hours, we have their rates, we just summarize then costs, and at the very end we get like a total summary of the costs for our estimation. And I would like to close out this section with one insight. There is always a conflict between salesperson and project manager during estimation. Project manager always wants to have bigger budget and bigger buffer to reduce risks, while salesperson always wants to cut estimation, so it would be just easier for him to sell. The truth is somewhere in the middle as always. Thanks for watching this section of the course and see you in the next section. Cheers.